Hello, and welcome to the Movie Test of Time, a podcast about revisiting our youth through the only medium that matters, the movies. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young, and I'm one of your edgy, problematic hosts. Joining me, as always, is our other edgy and problematic host, Beth Martin. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack?
I'm so edgy. I helped my kids get their science projects to the science fair
Right?
this morning,
But
and it was raining,
yeah.
and I wore a raincoat, and I was like, I'll drive you.
And you like,
Edgy.
but you drove really fast, and you were like
I,
handbrake turns and stuff like that, and so on and so forth,
yeah,
and
yeah.
swore a lot whenever they were out of earshot, obviously.
Oh, well, no, I mean, well, that definitely, they're always within earshot.
Yeah, that's
Mike's decided that Charles can say, because he's 9 now, he can say crap.
okay.
And because
Nice,
Harper's 11, she can say shit, damn, and crap.
nice, nice, nice. Yeah,
And I
that
was
makes
like,
sense.
because yeah, so apparently, he thought this all through. So, Mike's home from Oxford.
Uh-huh.
There's no plug here.
I
They take
saw
a
you
swig. I
drinking
have a
from that
Stanley mug
earlier.
now.
Amazing.
I bent the knee for the Stanley mug because Mike was like, "Do you want the Stanley mug?" Because he's like, everything is. They put the logo for Oxford on everything, and I was like, you know what? Yes, I want the Oxford Stanley fucking water
Why
mug.
not? You
Yeah,
know,
because no one else is like, how many people in America have this?
it's so
None.
it's so prestigious, and I mean,
It's
it's
so,
like it's also kind of like such a class. Like it's it really epitomizes our podcast. It's like this combination. Stanley
yeah.
Cups, I think of as an American thing,
Oh
and
God.
Oxford is as English as it comes.
Yes,
Or
yes.
British as it comes, maybe. Yeah,
I
whatever.
don't know. But so yeah, I was like, he's like got in super late not super late, like 7,
Uh-huh.
whatever, had dinner. He stayed up till 10. I think he'd been up for like 2 days. So he started like not really making sense. He's still
Yikes.
sleeping. Um, but we were just chit-chatting and I was like, "How was Oxford?" He was like, "Oh, it was good." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I watched all of Pulp Fiction like in one sitting today."
Uh-huh.
And he was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "I've been telling you that you needed to watch," because he's like, "You've never seen the movie like ever in one sitting,
Oh
or
wow,
like,
really?
do you even know that you saw the ending?" And I was like, "What? Like, no." I half started it probably like 30 times, then got bored and wandered away.
Fair.
So he was it's
The
like,
the the things that this podcast is making us watch all the way
I
through, and
know,
like I mean,
yes.
I
Well,
think
then
this
the
is
reactions sometimes.
true. But it's like I also really gets me whenever you tell somebody you haven't seen something and they're like, "What?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, it's almost as if I'm a human with a different life than yours. Let's
Right?
different experiences."
He was like, I've known you since like the last millennium. Like,
Yeah,
what the fuck? So, very mad that I didn't wait to watch it with him, but I was like, I didn't know. He was like, you could have changed the timing. Like, Andy would have understood.
it's
So,
true. That's fair.
anyways, we do what we want.
We do
Sorry,
exactly.
Mike. You
We
don't
are
listen to the podcast, so whatever.
we are both edgy and problematic, and we just watch what we want when we want.
Yeah,
Um,
no matter whose tiny feelings it hurts. Anyways, how are you?
I'm good. I told Beth I was just kind of getting over another sickness. I think like my fourth sickness in 6 months. I am over sicknesses. I think I didn't. It's kind of making up. I feel like the 2 years prior to that, I was barely sick at all. So I think just they're coming
Uh,
for me now. They're taking their sweet revenge.
it's your
Um,
sickness era.
it is my sickness era, and I am glad it seems to be coming to an end because I actually have energy today, which is nice. A few other things have been happening. So unfortunately, I never got the opportunity to take you there whenever you came over to visit, but I've talked about my local yoga studio. It's the one I've sent you the video from before that basically was overlooking the castle in my town.
Yes, yes. And I was like, the what? And you're like, the castle. And I
The
was
castle.
like, yeah.
Huh? Yeah. I, and
You
they.
guys, for those who don't know, just Google like Carrickfergus
Mhm,
Castle.
mhm.
It's a thing of beauty. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
I
I
couldn't
mean,
be bothered to pay the money to go walk inside, but we
no, I
sure
don't
did
think.
walk up to the front
Yeah,
and peered in.
that's enough. Like I think. Um, It's kind of underwhelming on the inside. I mean, it's fine, but it's fairly underwhelming.
Ah,
Anyway,
whatever. Ah,
yeah. So
you
the
could have like yoga retreats in a fucking castle, Andy.
the work because whenever I was doing stuff with the choir, we had tried to figure out how we could sing in there, and it was just such a nightmare that it was just we quickly dropped the idea because it was
Okay.
such a big headache because it is a listed building. You know, it's I think we
Like
have
a
the like our historical
historical.
importance and
Yep.
things like
Yep.
that. So anyway, that studio that is overlooking the castle, they are moving, and it's bittersweet. I am so happy that they are moving to this new place, but I have such fond memories of that studio in particular, that room in particular.
Yeah.
Like on a good day when you can see the castle, the sea, the sun shining, it's one of the most magical places to do yoga and I'm just going to miss it. So like I attended my last class in there over the weekend. I'm going to help with the move to the new studio over the weekend in the weekend coming. But it's just, I I think I also do this a lot to myself whenever like there are big changes, I end up
Mhm.
getting quite wistful and you know remembering not always in a negative way, but remembering all the nice things, but also, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Um also the bad is in like, me being sad about change and things like that, about missing a
Yeah.
place. Um,
Like wistfulness, but like more depressing.
exactly, very much
Find
so.
a word for that, internet.
There's got to be one.
Or top fans. Come on.
There's got to be one. I feel like there is one, and it's not coming out. It's in
It's
my
okay.
it's in my brain somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, I also you know being sick, being depressed. I'm a little. I mean, I'm not super depressed, but depressed-ish. And was like, I'll watch Die My Love, the the movie starring oh, why have I forgotten her name now? That's terrible.
My love. I know what you're talking about.
Um, with Jennifer
Do do
Lawrence,
do. Jennifer
Jennifer
Lawrence.
Lawrence,
Oh,
and
yes. Yes.
right,
Where she's
and
like post.
postnatal. It's basically a movie
Yep.
about postnatal depression, and it's like,
It's a good thing
yay!
you can't have babies, dude.
I know, right?
You would
Uh,
definitely have postnatal depression.
oh, 100%. So like, but really good movie, but also like a tough watch, and also it's like one of those things where um I think like she in particular, the director Lynn Ramsey is very good at like depicting things without maybe kind of like not an obvious way, so like by the use of camera angles or
Yeah.
lighting or whatever, and it's such a kind of like insight into somebody's mind without being very kind of showy about it. So like a wonderful piece of filmmaking and a movie I'm glad I saw, but yeah, it was a tough ride. It really was. It's,
Who's her? It's her and Robert Pattinson,
it
right?
is. Mm-hmm.
Or Pats.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna ever use that again. Sorry, dude. Um,
Also, Nick Nolte, like it's just a
oh,
sprinkling of Nick Nolte. He's not in it much, but he's great when
how's
he's
he
in it.
looking?
Old as shit,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
he like because he's doing a thing where he's like he's playing this kind of old sort of kind of frail sort of guy,
Mhm.
and he does a very he's very good, and it was nice to see him, I must say.
Have you ever seen The Prince of Tides?
I haven't seen it, no.
We might want to add that to the list,
Okay.
actually. He's it's a really good movie. He is so good in it. So it's like and he plays a very sympathetic character, dealing with some very hard issues. The book is better than the movie. And it's him and Barbara Streisand, but it works. I don't know.
I was gonna say
Uh,
that's a Barbra Streisand movie, so that's
yeah,
whenever we do
yeah,
our Bob
it's
season.
really good. And he also has this house, in the like low country, meaning like, I don't know if it's like the Outer Banks or something, but like the beach house is right on the ocean and they're all like frolicking and it reminded me of my childhood and I was like, that's the house. That's the house that I want to live in.
Okay.
Wherever it is. Like I'll
Okay.
buy it. Not really,
Okay.
but yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love it. Yeah, yeah, whenever we do our Barbra Streisand season,
We have
Streisand?
to.
Streisand somehow.
Stress. Yes.
That became there. And certainly she's only directed a handful of films, but she's appeared in many, many films, I think,
Yeah,
hasn't
she
she?
gave up directing because like Yentl should have won an Oscar for best something. She should have won something. Uh yeah, basically she's directed enough, but and they're good because I read her
I was gonna
4,000
say,
page autobiography. So yeah, she gave up directing 'cause she was like, no one is gonna, no one likes a woman director. So
is it Barbara Streisand who has the mall where she can just like it's like mall just for her where she can go and pretend to be a normal person? I don't. I'm
no, but I need to know more about this.
Yeah, I feel like there is like some sort of actress or singer, some like massive celebrity who has a mall that they like actually hire people. Whether this is apocryphal or not, I don't know. Like they hire people to be like, shoppers who will just like shop and not bother the celebrity so they can feel like a normal person. And I think it might be her. I mean, she probably would have mentioned that in her autobiography, right?
She has a shopping mall in her house.
Oh, it is her then?
Barbra Streisand's own shopping mall located in the basement of her Malibu home hosts tiny storefronts. So yeah, and
It is her.
there's a late show with Stephen Colbert episode 2 years ago, shopping at the tiny mall in Barbara's basement. Okay, I will watch this and report back.
Right, okay, so we'll get an update on
I'm
that.
I'm so excited. This is the shit I love, Andy. Oh my
Right.
God.
I just love
Okay,
hearing stuff like
Barbara
this.
Streisand Mall.
And it
Barbara.
feels like, I mean, like based on what I've heard about, because you really enjoyed her autobiography, right? It was a,
I mean, I did. Yeah, I tried to read the book, but it was too heavy for my hands. So
yes.
I listened to it. I listened to sorry. I I like making you laugh I like the good chortle from Andy.
Oh,
So yeah, so I did the audiobook and it took me like 4 years to listen to it. But yeah, she's had quite a life.
I
She really likes ice cream
yeah.
and cloning her dogs. So
Oh yes, I forgot about that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
I have next up because I'm reading a book at the minute, but like next up I have, excuse me, Mel Brooks
Mm.
autobiography, and it's not
I
certainly.
started it. I started it.
So I'm excited for that. I'm looking forward to
Yeah, it's good.
it.
He was like, he's a war
Yeah,
veteran. There are things like, I mean, granted, what is he, 99? Please make it to 100, Mel
I
Brooks.
know. But
Spaceballs 2 just finished. They wrapped on shooting,
oh,
so
fascinating.
thank
Okay.
God that it's kind of like we're getting to you know, I'm sad that Robert Duvall just died. And he was
Yes.
like one of my favorite actors. And I just like one of my goals in life was to meet Sean Penn, which worked out. But my other goal was to meet Robert Duvall, like in
Hmm,
terms of like
hmm,
favorite male
hmm,
actors that I
hmm.
respect. And I that didn't happen. And I'm
Uh,
sad about it. But I have
yeah.
his I have his autograph. So
Um. Yeah. That I know that was really sad. That was a tough one. Like I thought like I do hope Mel Brooks makes it 100 though. I remember people
yeah.
talking about how incredible Betty White's comic timing was that she nearly made it 100 and died like a day beforehand, and like
Yes.
basically all these like publications had all these things printed up ready to rock, for
Yes.
Betty White hits 100 and then she just
Yes.
just and
Nope.
it's like that's good, it's good
Yeah.
stuff, Betty. um yeah, the thing, like, so there's a whole thing with Mel Brooks as well. I don't know if you know this, and I'm sure I'll find out a bit more about this in his autobiography. Like he produced a load of like filmmakers kind of like important films in their career. So like both for David Lynch and Cronenberg,
I did not
he,
know that.
but he wanted his name kept off the movies because he was like, I think you're incredible filmmakers, but I think if my name's on here, it will like be to the detriment of the film. Like it will like make it seem like it's a comedy or silly when it's actually not. So a very very cool guy. Um, okay.
Mm,
So, do you have any what's current for us?
I do. So we have our top fan,
Hmm.
and I have not talked to you about this ahead of time, but
Okay.
usually like once a week I'll get a message and it's t always titled Bendy Ketchup.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like
Oh yeah, I
it's
get similar
time. I feel like it's time to like uh allow our top fan to have his own
section.
section called Bendy
Absolutely,
Ketchup.
you'd love that.
Okay. So this week's Bendy Ketchup from our top fan. Love you, buddy.
Great.
Okay, so Andy and we not accidentally, we watched the movie True Romance. At some point you'll get to hear that episode.
Uh-huh.
But as part of our Samuel L. Jackson week, and then we realized that he was only in it for 3 minutes.
Hmm.
And we were talking about like, yeah, it's hard to find movies where Samuel L. Jackson is like the main character.
Hmm.
So Bendy Ketchup says trying to think films where Sam Jackson is the lead and got The Negotiator and
Hmm.
187. And I wondered if the problem was these films were very thoroughly mediocre, as was Black Snake Moan, Snakes on a Plane, etc.
Yeah.
And he was cast as having established scene-stealing talents and impact in ensemble supporting and or antagonistic roles instead.
I think I that's a really good observation, and I think what's interesting about him in particular is that like he's too charismatic. Like I could be a leading man. I think like leading men have to be a little bit like every man a little bit bland, and he's too interesting for that. So I think that he's never because
He's not dadcore.
he's not that core. Oh,
Okay.
I have thoughts on that core actually.
Okay. Ooh, ooh. Okay, good.
Let's just do it now because like I feel like because like I was talking a little bit about not knowing what the name should be, but I think you came up with a name for what it should be, like in terms of this idea of dads who want to watch movies where they're like, oh, you know what? If I walk through a different door, I could be this guy. It should be called Dadcore, as in DADCORPS.
Yes,
Right? That's what
the
it should
way
be
I was
called. Yes,
incorrectly spelling it before.
that's how it should
Okay.
be. Yeah, so
All
that
right.
we should land on that.
We're gonna watch out social media because we're gonna spell it wrong.
Right?
Oh, the right way.
And watch out for our dadcore t-shirts. Um,
I can make that happen.
yeah, I know. Yeah, that's
All
true.
of our merchandise needs a refresh. Yeah, we
Yes,
have it on our website if anybody wants to buy anything.
it's true. It's true. Okay.
Mhm.
Any more thoughts, or should we get into this week's episode?
I'm just gonna say I've never finished this movie.
Okay. The
So,
mo then the movie that we're talking about is
yes,
Pulp
Pulp
Fiction.
Fiction.
Maybe you're expecting true romance, but nah, you're
Haha!
getting Pulp Fiction instead.
Trust us never.
Yeah, exactly. We made a fool out of
We're like,
you.
watch this movie for next week. And we're like, just kidding.
Yeah. No, we'll mostly be on point the rest of the time, but these things happen. Um, and this is a movie that I think does Samuel Jackson so much more justice. I mean, certainly,
Yeah.
probably the movie that really like kind of launched him into full stardom. I think it was this and another one of the Spike Lee movies, the name of which escapes me right now. But like he is sensational in this. He's so good in it. He's just so watchable, and you kind of miss him when he's not there. I think in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And I started to get worried, like, halfway through the movie, and I'm like, where is he? Are we gonna have 10 minutes of Samuel L. Jackson?
Hmm.
And then, the last chapter or whatever, I was like, okay, and it ends with him and like his whole you know, God speeches and
Yep.
trying to yeah. So, okay, quick synopsis.
Hmm.
I'm in a so Sumitra. I apologize if I'm saying your name incorrectly. But this person wrote a quick synopsis on the IMD web.
IMDb.
IMDb. Sorry, blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
That's a hard one. Okay, well, my own synopsis, I just wrote ball gags.
Yeah, it was ball gags.
Ball
Wow.
gags. That's what it's about. Not really. So, Jules and Vincent are two hitmen who are out to retrieve a suitcase stolen from their employer, mob boss Marcellus Wallace. Um, Wallace has also asked Vincent to take his wife Mia out for for like a not a date, but like go take her out of the house
Mhm.
while he's away. And then also this other character named Butch, who's an aging boxer who's paid by Wallace to lose his own fight. These lives, the lives of these seemingly unrelated people are woven together in a, end of series of bizarre, funny, and or uncalled for incidents.
Yeah, certainly some of them are very uncalled for, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
hence the edgy the edgy
yes.
top, top of the
Yes.
episode. Um, so, I'm really so like Beth, we were talking about this ahead of time, or we were talking about it in the episode, who knows anymore. Like Beth has not seen this all the way through. I'm kind of really eager to get her kind of final verdict. Obviously, we're gonna get there. We're not gonna
Yep.
rush into it.
Nope.
Um,
Did I make a final verdict? Oh, yeah, I did. I did.
okay, perfect.
And
I
if not, I'm just pretending.
I feel like for me, it was like it has been a long time since I've watched it all the way through. It would have been one of the few, not few, but one of the VHS tapes I would have had,
Yeah.
and I would have ended up watching it a lot. Probably ended up buying a copy on DVD eventually
Yeah.
too. But
We have a DVD copy.
I'm not a big one on like renting or like sorry, not renting, rewatching films. Like I tend to just prefer to like see new stuff if at all possible. Like
So you have a
there's
podcast where you rewatch films?
I know, right? But it's good for me because it does make me like go back and I look at these things that I never would have otherwise.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, there's various things like for a while there, the Marvel movies were such comfort movies for me, and like Star Wars and things like that. But like by and large, I just had no real appetite for it. Like, um, but I think so. This is probably the first time I've rewatched this in about 20 years, and like it's absurdly watchable, I think. I mean, like, we can talk a little bit about the content and, the structure and things like that, but I think, you know, going through it again, with the benefit of hindsight and thinking about the sticking part of so much of this film, it's kind of staggering. Like the amount of like things that are still memes that are still kind of referenced, it's nuts. There's so
Yeah,
much of it,
there
and
is.
you know regardless of what you think about Quentin Tarantino as a filmmaker, especially these days, I think that like what he made here was like seismic. It was like the impact it has left on Hollywood it's still impacting Hollywood. Um, and yeah, it's kind of really kind of fascinating going back to it and. As I say, through the lens of the memification of so much of this film and going,
Hmm.
how does it then hold up even in that framework?
Hmm. I, yeah. So I didn't quite know that this was like, I think this, other than like Aliens, this
Hmm.
is Mike's probably second favorite movie.
Okay, nice.
Because last night he's just like, he couldn't, she was just like, you did not wait for me. You did, I could not, right? Granted, he
Wow.
was like, cracked out and tired, but I was like, well, how many times have you seen it? He's like, over 100. I was like,
Wow.
what? He was like, yeah, this was like, a pinnacle movie. And then, he's got his own reasonings, but he was basically like my notes, I was like, I love a good double negative, you know me. So I wrote,
Hmm.
it's not interesting, right?
Sure.
Like it's not, I mean, it as most of his movies do, it kind of picks up at the middle. So
Sure.
as long as you can get through the first like 45 minutes of whatever, and then all of a sudden something you're just like, what the fuck, right? Which I always enjoy in every movie. We have bunnies, Andy. There's a
Yeah.
bunny in my yard.
Wow, really?
Yes,
Is it
his
still
name is,
raining?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I got sidetracked.
Hmm.
Anyways, but
So,
Mike was saying that like this movie basically like showed it's like a time capsule of what Los Angeles was really like. At the
mm,
time and it's like I was like, was it like, did you have like, was it what I was like, I'm never gonna look at a loan shop the same way ever again,
It's true.
right? So I was like, was it like seedy? Was it, I was like, what do you mean? I was like, until you and I started dating, I'd never been to LA. So like, other than like the movie LA Story, I had no reference point.
Hmm.
Um, and he was like, yeah, it's like it really captures the feeling of Los Angeles at that time. And I
That's
don't know if
interesting.
that's good or bad because I was
Yeah.
like, it's, they're not showing you like the glamorous parts at all. But I thought that was an interesting take. So,
Like it's so fascinating, in terms of what it's trying to achieve. Like it both, you know, because like at the start, and I feel like in so many other filmmakers' hands, this would seem really kind of hackneyed, but like
yeah,
the pulp thing,
yeah,
talking about the pulp as in the nature of like paper itself and also the nature of the entertainment and being like this is supposed to be this trashy exploitational sort of like content anyway. I mean,
yes,
like it feels like, in terms of like a tone setter, it feels so risky, but like he really kind of threads the needle quite nicely in that it is, ultimately a fairly trashy film in terms of like its subject matter, but it really it threads everything together really intricately and in a
yes,
really fascinating way,
yes.
and like it's quite an achievement, I think.
I would agree with that. Um,
So we talk a little bit about the director.
yeah, can I just circle back to what you were
Sure.
saying about how like the memes and there's still so many like references to this film in all things, and it's
Yeah.
like, all the electronica I ever listened to, I'm like, oh my God, that's from Pulp Fiction, that's from I heard probably 10 different things that someone said where I was like, that's been in a remix song, like
Yeah.
a lot, not even just electronica, like,
It
yeah,
like so much,
yeah,
like just in terms of like even like, you remember like back in the day you would get like skits between like songs or like intros,
yes,
even things like
yes,
that for like
yes,
all sorts of music. Like it was nuts,
yes,
absolutely nuts.
yes, yes.
Um, I remember.
Okay, sorry, yes.
It's quite all right. I know I was going to say, I remember like Fun Loving Criminals and things like that having been
Uh-huh.
heavily influenced by
Yes,
this, and so
yes.
on. I even remember like, I want to like, obviously, when we get to the kind of music section of this, I want to talk more about this genre. There's some really interesting stuff there, but like, um, I think that I've completely lost the thread of
Your idea?
my
That's
idea.
cool.
It's
All
fine.
right,
It'll
all
come back
right.
to me. All right, let's talk about
Director.
the director, Quentin Tarantino.
Who's the director? Oh,
Who's this guy? Have you heard of this
oh,
guy? Have you seen
nice.
this guy? Have you heard about this guy, Quentin Tarantino? Um, like it's you know, it's funny because it's like it's one of those things. When I was trying to write something down about him, I just feel like he is so well known. It's like, what is there to say? Um, I feel like it should be noted. I suppose because I kind of lived it, I saw this film in the cinema, and it was such a formative experience for me because like I really shouldn't have. It was what 94, and I was like 15, and this was an 18 film, and I got in anyway.
Yeah.
So
So we
like,
were like just between like secondary school, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like I, snuck in, and so this and like Seven,
You were just like, what the fuck?
yeah,
Oh, seven, yeah. That was right.
I,
Same
around the same
time.
sort of time, all such formative movie watchings, and like I think what, because like I was, reading my film magazines and things like that, and I was dying to see Pulp Fiction. I think I had seen Reservoir Dogs on VHS beforehand, and I was just like so ready
Uh,
for it.
yeah.
So it's just so important to me, so like, but I guess there are plenty of people who don't really have, an understanding of him and who like, and sort of the importance of this film. But like he had only really done Reservoir Dogs before this in terms of like we've talked a little bit about he has written scripts, or he had like worked on scripts prior to this,
Yeah.
but this kind of launched him into the stratosphere. It was so enormous. It was like the only film anybody was really talking about that year. It just blew everything else away. And yeah, it's just like it's what I think, made him the director that basically everybody knows. It was like
Yeah.
so seismic.
Yeah.
Um, and
And he put himself in the movie.
he did put himself in the movie, and I want to talk a little bit about
Okay.
that, and like just his
Yeah.
dialogue generally.
Yeah.
But huge, like absolutely huge. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't know that I'd be saying anything new about Quentin Tarantino, but I think it's worth pointing out just how, like, for a director, I think very few directors, even extremely successful ones, have movies that are quite as big and impactful both for moviegoers and both for the culture.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's staggering to think about. So yeah, this was, absolutely his, again, launched him into the stratosphere.
Do you think this is his best film?
No.
Okay. So we're probably gonna have get to do a Tarantino month at some point.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's some interesting stuff to talk about in there,
Yeah.
I think that yeah, it's so hard to like, you know, take a step back and just kind of like examine this as a film. Do you know what I mean? Like it
Hmm.
just feels like such a again such a cultural thing, like just this like cultural signpost that has just been like set down in 1994, and it just like
Yes.
time and existence kind of moves around it, in such kind of odd ways.
Yes.
It's mad. It's completely mad. But yeah. Um yeah.
So I can give you a little bit of information about Tarantino.
Hmm.
He basically, I think it's harder, and I think more maybe we're recognizing that, you know, it's who you know or who your parents are, right? That gives you a little bit. I don't want. I hate this like whole nepotism conversation
Yeah.
because this is how Hollywood has always worked, and
Yes.
someone said nepo babies, and then it became a thing.
Yeah.
But I do think that Quentin doesn't really, because we're friends, so I can call him
Sure.
Quentin. Um, I call him San Quentin. It's just a joke we have, he and I. Not really. Anyway, but he didn't have film training. He was an unknown.
Yes.
He was working with, so he and
Roger
um,
Avery.
Avery worked together at the Video Archives, a video store in SoCal,
Mhm.
and they were just like, maybe we'll write some scripts and put some pen to paper or whatever. But he basically said, like, I didn't go to film school, like films were my school.
Yeah.
And I think that's an actual quote that he said and that I
Yeah.
didn't botch at all. Um, that wasn't even in my notes, people. So I just think it's interesting that he really, it's not that he came out of nowhere, but like he did kind of come out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
he did.
And, he's honest about the fact that he copies everybody and has copied everything he's
Yep.
ever seen, but so does everybody else.
Yeah.
So I appreciate, the homages to all of the different things that he likes or thinks are interesting, Elvis and rockabilly music, and
Yep.
the way that it does see Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is its own. We could just have a podcast about that
Yeah.
city, but it's just I yeah, I as a filmmaker who you can watch a movie and know exactly without knowing who wrote or directed it. You could be like, I know who wrote directed this,
Yes.
which I like.
Absolutely. I mean, he stylistically he is very singular. I think I mean, like there are definitely other directors who've tried to ape his style, and some do okay, but
Yeah,
it always feels like too much of a rip off. I think,
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I
So, so I just want to talk. Can I talk a little bit about like how they came
absolutely.
came up with the concept for the movie? So, they originally wanted to create like three short films with three different filmmakers. So that would be Avery, Tarantino, and they had a friend named Adam Rifkin. So they wrote what would have been the first of the trilogies, and it doesn't matter. Anyways, they had these two other movies, one of being Reservoir Dogs, and the other being True Romance. They weren't quite sure what to do with Pulp Fiction, but Avery and Tarantino kept moving it. It was they titled it the Black Mask
Right?
originally, based probably on, I'm guessing, the Gimp, maybe. I don't know. Uh, after so there was like a crime fiction magazine called that was like very
Hmm.
pulpy. Um, and then they were like, no, let's add more layers. And Avery created the basic idea for the Gold Watch storyline of Pulp Fiction, which,
Hmm.
is kind of like things happen because Bruce Willis's character is like trying to find his dad's watch that was passed down from, grandfather, great grandfather to grandfather to his father, and it was now his watch. And, you know, everyone was sneaking it around POW camps in their assholes. So
Yeah.
there's no kind way I can say that other than the way I just said it. So I don't know. I think it's just a lot of my guess is they're probably getting really high and like writing stuff down, and here we are.
I think that like, you know, there is a, that idea that like auteur theory is completely ridiculous. And I think it is like, and it's all about timing and place and like
Yes.
the people that you meet and the talents that they bring to something.
Yeah.
And I think that like as I kind of looked at this, and I was also, music in particular is so important, and like to this
Yeah.
like hugely important, and it's another thing
Yes.
that kind of just changed the game completely. Um, so
It
like
brought
I
back a genre too. I think that
very much so.
either people had never heard or,
An absolute revival, I think, of like a few different kinds of music, I think, and so I think that like there is something about that whole mixture and like and also just like timing and luck in terms of like making that thing work, and like you say, going through a few drafts of what this thing might look like, and then it just kind of like fitting together. Because I even like know, in terms of like Bruce Willis's involvement, like he took a big reduction in terms of
did.
like, what he normally gets paid because he liked the script so much, and how important that was to kind of like get the film both finance and like, position it for marketing and things that, it's like so many things have to come together to make this film the success that it was, I think, it's very interesting.
Hmm.
So do you want to talk about music
Yes.
now? Because that is
Yes.
something because like as much as I look at Quentin Tarantino, it's like I don't know what to say about this guy that hasn't been said, particularly relating to this film. But I think looking into this, there wasn't a composer as such. The important person on this was the music supervisor, called Karen Rackman. And I thought this was this is something I'd never really looked at before and I find way more interesting. She's one of the most influential music supervisors of all time. What's a music supervisor, you may ask? I asked myself the same question not so long ago. It's basically somebody who both suggests songs for films and also negotiates the contracts and the rights for those songs to make sure they can be cleared and used for films. So she really fascinating individual. Like, I mean, I was kind of looking into it. Basically, she worked for the head of music for Canon Films, then kind of like did her own thing, started working as a music supervisor on other smaller films like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Um, but her sort of like launch to kind of like major kind of like I guess relevance and like becoming one of the biggest of all time was with Reservoir Dogs, where Tarantino really wanted Stuck in the Middle with You. Um, the guy that he was, or the person that he was working with, couldn't make it happen. He met her, she made it happen, and they just
Ah.
had this connection then, and then she continued to kind of work with him in his films. But like the soundtrack for like Pulp Fiction, the soundtrack for like Reservoir Dogs as well were so successful that they ended up also helping like fund the film and things like that as well. So yeah, it's really, really like she became then like off the back of this, this the soundtrack for this alone sold 4 million copies, which is
I
insane.
had the soundtrack.
And so did
And it
I.
had like the quotes in that
Yes.
uh and I didn't, again, I hadn't ever finished the movie, but
And then she just became like so important. Like, and I think she then changed the game in terms of like what music soundtracks were, that they could be something viable
mhm.
as, apart from a movie in terms of like, because like you had soundtracks, but they weren't in this vein. They weren't filled with cool music. A lot of times they were scores and stuff, which can be great, but don't have that sort of like it factor. I think that the music in this film does,
Like, I'm
know.
gonna pop this in my CD
Yeah,
player.
exactly.
Get it on
Yeah.
my CD. Okay, for those of you who are younger than, I don't know, Andy and I, like we used to have like CD books. I got mine out the other night and I was
Yeah.
like, kids, go through this because they were, like trying to get some new music. And I was like, I had this whole like, this is what we used to carry around. And like, do you remember just like driving your car and the CD would like zing off the seat and you'd be like
Yep.
trying to drive and try to like find this like really slippery CD? Ugh,
Yep.
yeah,
All too well. I
yeah,
don't I don't miss those days in some ways, though in other ways I do miss them because, then we owned the music that we
right,
liked
right.
rather than whatever the fuck we're doing these
Just
days.
yes, it's weird. That's so interesting. So do they did they continue to work together?
They seemed like they did, like, but I think she then became, because she did this and Reality Bites in the same year, and both of
Oh
them were like
wow. I had
massive.
that CD too.
And then she went on to do like tons of other stuff. So I think like she did some other work with him, but then went on to become like one of the most kind of sought after musical supervisors in the industry. So I think she just did tons of other stuff.
Amazing. Um so I think it's interesting. I was looking through like, okay, like favorite actors and like who acted in this. And I'm noticing there's like, and I know I was doing some reading around this, like John Travolta hadn't had a hit in a very long time, right? Bruce
Yes.
Willis had done a couple things, but like nothing was really picking up for him. Um, I'm not sure about Christopher Walken. I feel like he's a gift and anytime we get to see him, but I feel like whoever the casting director was, and they did a they I just, the fact that we got to see, like, I remember it being such a big deal that, like, John Travolta danced in this movie
Yeah.
because he was in Saturday Night Fever and,
Yep.
like, he spent a year getting ready for that. And, like, he's a phenomenal dancer. And that was, like, such a big deal.
Because this was like, because like he was coming off like the Look Who's Talking movies, you know what I mean? So like he
It was like,
was,
look who's talking too,
yeah.
right?
So like
Just
he
on
was
that.
still about, but he wasn't his star was like kind of like going down, and this
Yeah.
just like picked it right back
Yes.
up again.
Yes. And it put him in, put him in a role. And it's like now I'm like, you see the stickers of like him and Samuel L. Jackson's character, and
Hmm.
it'll just be their outlines, but like who it is, right? And so
Even
putting them together
oh,
in these scenes,
just iconic. Like
it's
I
just, yeah,
and
good
there's
casting.
the clip of him, going into Mia Wallace's house and like looking around confused is still used as a I don't know what the hell's going on sort of
Right.
meme.
Yes. Yes. I also I was watching something or listening to something, I can't remember, but it was like, there's a scene where uh John Travolta is like buying heroin and then he fixes the heroin and then he takes the heroin
Yeah.
and it's like everyone who has done heroin in that time period or after, like that's their reference point for how to do heroin.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I
like,
thought that
oh,
was
I
so
learned from
interesting.
watching Pulp Fiction. Did you tell me that?
No, but I feel like we talked about it before, but like
Yeah.
it's so interesting to me that that was so influential in terms of like heroin
Yes.
use.
Yes.
It's wild.
And
Truly
yeah.
wild.
Yeah. And I was trying to think there was a shoot, I'm not going to go there because I can't remember the movie. But
Okay.
there was a Gus Van Sant movie,
Hmm.
Drugstore Cowboy,
Yes. Hmm.
that was filmed in Portland, Oregon, where I
Hmm.
used to live. But that I thought was like at the time that was like kind of the most like referenced, like I don't know. I don't know when it came out. I'll stop talking about that. But all to say, there's so many good like Ving Rhames was in this movie.
Yep.
God rest his soul.
Oh,
Miss that man.
stacked.
R.I.P.
Cast is absolutely stacked. Like it
It's
really is.
yeah, and it's just interesting uh how many other, like there was the heroin dealer was written for John Cusack, but he turned it down. So it's like there was, it was just interesting. I feel like, you know, it really casting really does matter.
Yeah.
And this was like, other than one character that we can talk about, this was perfectly cast.
Yes, 100%. Um, so we chat a little bit about it? I'm
Yeah.
also wary that like the time, looking at
Oh,
the
are we
time already,
blah?
I'm like, yeah,
Oh, wow.
we're
Okay.
good. But like
Blah, blah,
one of the
blah.
things I noticed that I have not spotted before, there was a few different things, was that Danny DeVito was an executive producer of this, and apparently had a huge part in getting it made. Like he like shopped it around to like lots of studios because a lot of people find it
Seriously?
too violent and
Graphic?
things like
Yeah.
that. And apparently it had like a really kind of solid career as a producer like throughout the 90s and into the 2000s as well, which is
He
fast because
appears, he and Rhea Perlman, I know they're still married but not together anymore.
yeah,
I just like when they appear, it's always such a treat.
it is. It is.
And
Um
I love that now I know he's like working behind the scenes.
yeah, it's great. Like it really is nice. Um I think like I in terms of things that I don't think Javi is great is like I thought the dialogue is zippy and it feels like you know, vital and like alive, but I feel like the kind of casual racism really has aged terribly as
Yeah.
a sort of like, look how kind of cool we are.
Yeah.
It feels very kind of like it feels a little try hard, I think, or maybe a lot try hard, but like it, you know, and maybe that is how some people talk back then, but it I feel like it has aged pretty terribly.
I think the only person that can say anything like that that's allowed to absolutely do whatever and say whatever he wants is Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes.
So, but
I
other
think
than that,
yes.
no, no.
And like as they start making turn for him, and like he'd appeared in plenty of things before, but he is just so charismatic in this, and like he is just like I think putting the two of them together, like you say, and like them talking is just like it is cinematic gold. You just like it's so here and there, hearing his writing or Avery's writing coming out of their mouths is just magic. It really is.
Yeah, agreed. Do you want to hear a few facts?
Absolutely.
So, so the passage from the Bible that Jules has memorized was mostly made up by Tarantino
Oh,
and Samuel
interesting.
L. Jackson. So the first part about the righteous man and the tyranny of the evil men is not real, which almost makes it better in my eyes.
Yeah.
However, the second half, and I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger. And you will know my name is the Lord, and when I lay my vengeance upon thee, is actually a direct quote from Ezekiel 25:17.
Okay.
Um, so yeah. And this actually, it's likely that Tarantino put this in because there's a film called The Bodyguard Kiba that he loves. It's a 1973 film, and it's a quote in that almost word for word, and he loved that movie, and so I think he just put that in this. But yeah, I liked that element of Samuel L. Jackson's character, just like, this is my catchphrase when I murder people, and then he's like starts thinking it through, and then the end scene of him like deciding, am I am I vengeance, or do I want
Yeah.
to walk the earth and just be peaceful?
I think that that sort of extended sort of bit of him talking and him in when they first go into the apartment doing all the talking is just like pure
Yeah,
magic,
yeah,
like
yes.
the way he kind of handles the room and like the kind of quiet power and like even whenever he's like doing the whole sort of like friendly thing, like the quiet kind of menace in there is just so palpable. It's really wonderful.
You always know that at any moment is capable of murder,
Yes,
and
it's
it's
true.
in every, and yeah, I'm here for it. Okay, so the movie's line, what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Paris. They call it a royale with cheese, was voted as the number 81st of the greatest movie lines by Premiere.
Like, wow. And
Yeah.
in terms of the ones that you could pick, that's such a
Yeah.
fascinating one.
Yeah.
Like there's so many. Like I mean, like, they're like for a film they even have a couple of iconic lines is good, but there's
Yeah.
like 20,
There's
30
20 or
iconic lines in
30.
this film.
Absolutely.
Uh,
But like they have McDonald's in French Polynesia where we go for vacation.
uh-huh.
And so like they still it's like Royale with cheese. It's on the thing. It's still there. And like, for those of Kevin Smith fans or whatever, like the Superette, they have the Superettes there, but they're called La Superette, so I don't know.
Um,
Uh
I think we have quarter. I think there are called quarter pounders here, which is interesting because like we do know what a pound is, but it's not used as much. That's
yeah,
interesting.
Royale
Anyway,
with
sorry.
cheese. I don't know which is more catchy, but okay, so let's see. It costs only 8 million to make.
Oh, nice.
Uh
Well.
and it was lower, but then they added Bruce Willis, but he was like, I'll take very little money.
Hmm.
So 5 million of the 8 million went to pay salaries, and then everything else was, produce or, making the movie. So it grossed over 200 million at the box office.
Let's see.
I know.
That's really
Um,
insane.
okay, this I really liked. Hopefully this is a fun fact that most people don't know. So when shooting the film, Quentin created the summary of Mia's TV show Fox Force 5,
Hmm.
uh, only for the passing by conversation between Mia and Vincent. And it was Uma Thurman who was actually like, Quentin, you could actually make that into a movie. So between takes and like between rehearsals, um, he made a full movie based on the Fox Force 5 characters. And that became the story and the script for Kill Bill.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Love it. Yeah,
Yep.
because I remember hearing that they were like talking about um the whatever the project the working on a project together for ages, but I didn't realize that was the direct influence. But yeah, I can absolutely see
Yep.
it.
It's Uma.
That makes sense.
Thank you, Uma Thurman.
I know, I love it.
Um, okay,
Do you have any others for us?
let's see. I mean, shout out to Ireland. So, the character of Trudy, who
Hmm.
lives with the heroin dealer, apologies if I say this incorrectly, but Brana Gallagher,
Uh, Bruna. Hmm.
Bruna, can be
Hmm.
seen wearing a t-shirt of Irish rock band The Frames. She appeared in The
Yep.
Commitments in 91, with Glenn Hansard, who's the lead singer of The Frames, which I didn't know, and now you have to go like hunt them down on Spotify.
Hmm.
They became friends, and she promised him that she would wear a Frames t-shirt if she got the part in the movie. So she did a solid. Um, so yeah,
Amazing.
go Ireland. Yay.
Yay. Yeah, no, I've kind of forgotten she was in this. I mean, she barely does anything in it, but it was kind of interesting to
Yep.
see her. I was like, oh
Yep.
yeah.
Her.
Um, all right.
Oh, and it was
Mm-hmm.
Samuel L. Jackson's only Oscar nominated role. He has an honorary Oscar, but I don't know if that's like an honorary PhD or doctorate or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but they
That
were basically just like, you're cool. Oh, oh, I have a few Samuel L. Jackson facts,
go
but we
for
can
it.
get there. Okay. So, um, okay, so he was the first security guard of the Manhattan Plaza apartment complex.
Okay.
And it's like an artist community, like in their families. So he was opening doors for Alicia Keys and Timothy Chalamet, who grew up there. Um, he is accomplished at playing brass instruments, so he plays the French horn and the trumpet
Ooh.
from in school symphony orchestras from grades 3 through grades 12, which is a long time.
Yeah.
Like he could probably pick it back up and rock it. He's great friends with British actor Simon Pegg. I'm so jealous. I want to be in the room where that happens. That's a Hamilton reference for anyone
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
knows
Hmm.
that. Okay, and this is one other fun fact. Due to his prominent stature within the film industry, he has accorded a clause in all of his movie contracts that guarantees him easy access to golf courses no matter where the location shoot happens to be.
That's
Because he's
wild.
Samuel L. fucking Jackson.
Uh, wow. Very, very interesting. I had no
So
idea.
I need to know, once, in the 6 months, once we're rich and famous, well, it'll be interesting to see what are in your podcast clauses, Andy.
Oh, that's gonna be ridiculous. They're gonna be
I know.
really,
Yeah.
really intense. Okay. So shall we get to our final wee section of the podcast? First
Uh,
things first, too legit to fit. Who had the best outfits in the movie? I think like it's tough for me.
Ooh,
I've written down Pumpkin. Like I think that the kind of Pumpkin is in like Tim Roth's character because I love his shirt and I'm a sucker for a good kind of Hawaiian shirt.
yeah,
But certainly the kind of suits, the kind of black suits, black
yeah.
tie, white shirts are it's such an iconic look as well. And like Vince Vega has the like little sort of what do you call those neckties? I have one. I love them. You know the kind of Western neckties,
Oh,
the
it's supposed to
bolo
be a
tie.
bowl, but yeah, bolo.
Yeah, I thought that was great. But I think it goes to Pumpkin for me. I think it has to. It was incredible, incredible look. Um, the Andy's Animal Acting Award. I don't think there was any animals. Or am I insane? I couldn't think of any. Like nothing
Uh,
prominent enough that it's that they're award winning. So sorry, guys.
yeah,
Nobody's getting it this week.
nobody.
All right. In that case,
I
revisit,
mean, the gimp,
remember.
the gimp.
Jim, yeah, was kind of an animal. He's a dirty animal. Um, so in terms of revisit, remember, refuse, or redo, what are your thoughts on Pulp
You
Fiction? I'm really
know,
eager to hear this.
yeah, I was going into this being like Tarantino is not my jam. This is a pointless movie. It doesn't
Hmm.
have a fucking point. I left it being like, I would absolutely watch this again.
Yeah, love it. Love it.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm not saying I agree with him as a human being because
Sure.
I love me some Paul Dano.
Sure.
And also I did not appreciate his character in this movie.
You.
I think it could have been better cast. Sorry, Quentin. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
that's
but
true.
like, yeah.
I wonder how indicative it is of him as a person. That like I think it probably speaks to that sort. He's that sort of guy.
Yeah. I mean,
I
I appreciate it when it's like Stan Lee just making like a 30-second appearance or like he's on a newspaper.
yes,
Like a little homage to yourself
yes.
is fun. Like, Alfred Hitchcock did that too. Um, but
I
I don't I love I prefer him as a director, writer, and not as an actor. I
yes.
don't know. Maybe I'll rewatch From Dusk Till Dawn and
Uh,
I just want to
That's an
yeah,
interesting
I
one.
know.
Yeah.
I know. His I don't know. Not
Um,
my
no,
yeah,
I think
can't say
yeah, I
enough
think
about
you're
it.
right. He's definitely better as a director and writer than an actor for sure. I
Yeah.
think this is an easy revisit for me. Like even going into it, I was looking at the runtime, and you know how much I hate a long runtime these days. I was like, for
Yeah.
fuck sake, this is
Uh-huh.
fucking nearly 2.5 hours. But it was a easy breezy 2.5 hours. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like sometimes if I'm really kind of like tight for time, I will like second screen a movie, but like I was thinking about this, like, but I really enjoyed it. And it was, yeah, it just a great, just like really kind of, in terms of like there are some nuts things in there, absolutely nuts things in there, some violence and some like other kind of unpleasantness, but like it is just a really energetic, really kind of like
Yeah.
vibrant, kind of place to spend a couple of hours. So yeah, definitely an easy revisit for me, I think.
I and also like you were talking about like the dialogue between the characters which I loved, but also the
Yeah.
dialogue of the characters juxtaposition with the actions that they then perform
Yes.
that have like you see them as human beings because they're having conversations and then you see them as different human beings because they're doing horrible things and it's just like that was such an interesting you know I don't
It,
even know what.
it,
Yeah, it that it's just
I think
that's a Quentin Tarantino style thing, I
yes.
think,
And I
and I
think
like I'm here for it.
I think they feel like more complete people in both, the horrible and the good ways, and I think that's something that like was felt fairly fresh at the time. Certainly it has happened before, but like I think it felt very kind of warts and all in terms of
Hmm.
like the portrayal of people, and I think that was a rarity. But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, fascinating movie. And one I'm glad we revisited, and also nice way to kind of cap off our Samuel L. Jackson season because he is absolutely spectacular in it. Um, okay, so we are moving into our new theme for next month for March, which is going to be Irish American Month, which we're excited for. We already have some ideas for this, but if you have any ideas at home for things that you would like to, I'd like us to watch that will be part of this, that will be great. Are kind of like, and as we're still trying to do like crossover episodes, so that features last week's or last month's topic and next month's topic. So next month or next week, good Lord,
I know.
what's happening with my brain
It's
is
okay.
next week is going to be Loaded Weapon. And if you're like, hold on a minute, Andy, how is this Irish American? You've got to
With a
tune in
crossover
with
with
the
Samuel L.
crossover.
Jackson.
You've got to tune in next week to find out. Um, so yeah, so if you want to watch at home, our next movie is going to be Loaded Weapon. No, sorry, National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon.
Loaded Weapon 1.
Loaded Weapon 1, yes, which we'll talk about next time. Um, okay, Beth, can you tell everybody where they can find us?
Yes, you can find us at bendypodcast.com. Um, Facebook, we've gotten
Mm-hmm.
some followers, I just
Ooh,
yeah, any interactions we would love to have. So thank you for all of our new followers and
yep,
listeners, and um you make this fun for us. So we
very
love the
much so.
comments and ideas and anything, just throw it our way. We're here for it. So
Yeah,
thank you for
amazing.
being here.
We love it. Yeah, very much appreciate it, folks. All right. In that case, we have reached the end of this week's episode, and as always, we'd like to remind you to stay
Stay bendy.
bendy.
We
No need
forgot
it.
joy, but I'm gonna let it go this week.
Damn it! We need some gunfire here at the end. Pow,
Yeah.
pow, 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 pow. All
Wow, that
right.
was really bad. Okay, love you guys.
Love you. Bye bye.
Love you.